Hey guys, thank you for being a part of a conference that's really focused on making a difference. My name is Valentina Arizmendi, and I'm a media and journalism student at the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. I'm interning at Adobe this summer, and though this isn't quite the experience that I was imagining for myself in working from home, it is opening up opportunities for conversations like this one. Adobe was one of the founding partners of 3%. Back when Kat Gordon first identified that only a small percentage of all creative directors were female. As a female minority myself, it's uplifting to know that I'm working for a company that's not just supporting, elevating, and amplifying diverse voices like mine, but Adobe is actively creating opportunities for everyone, especially those who are underrepresented. We support scholarships, grants, software donations, career development programs, and awesome conferences like this one to make sure that everyone's voices are being heard. So what exactly can you expect from the Student Impact Series? Well, we're having sessions where you can learn what role creativity plays in fostering change, how to position yourself in front of top employers, and then some live Google Meets with industry leaders providing some much needed career advice. And if you're feeling bold enough to do some hands-on work, join us for our co-create hour with When We All Vote. All right, now with all of that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Hello, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, wherever you're tuning in from. My name is Valentina Arizmendi. Thank you for joining us on Adobe's little fireside chat here. I'm currently an intern at Adobe this summer, and in the fall, I'll be a senior at the University of North Carolina studying journalism. And I'm so excited to have here with us Thaddeus Coates, also known as Hippie Potter. And I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, Thaddeus, so take it away.
Hey guys, I'm Adobe Potter. I am an art director and illustrator, a recent graduate, class of 2020, and a creative in New York.
Creative in New York. I love that you call yourself a creative. So to just get us started here, I think I love the fact that we're both kind of young. I feel like I'm always just talking to a bunch of adults, and I myself don't feel like an adult yet. So for you, I kind of want to know if your experience was similar to mine as to how was it like growing up with technology as an always on presence. You know, I'll admit I always have at least like 3 or 4 devices with me at any given moment. And I feel like adults are always like, your generation's just connected to your phone. So what was it like for you, you know, growing up, and how did it affect your learning to always have all this technology?
I feel like it enforced us becoming wizards. I feel like I was in middle school learning how to convert MP3 songs to get to play on my MP3 player. So it kind of allowed us to become this super generation, I'd like to call us, because we are equipped with so much and we're also able to utilize so much. So when everything is ever changing, we kind of are ahead of the curve. So while the wave was forming, we were kind of riding that wave. And I think it's super cool to have grown up with all these things and have deciphered it. There was no tutorial. We all learned ourselves and had to teach each other. So we were learning from each other. All the YouTube tutorials you've seen of people teaching people how to do things, that was us. We made that thing an avenue for us to learn. So I feel like we kind of broke the barrier in a sense, and we broke the third wall. So we're all on the same kind of spectrum.
Yes, for sure. I like that we taught ourselves. It was this like hands-on learning that we were
Yeah,
all doing. There was no like manual, there was no direction guide for us to follow.
right.
And now we're making it. So how do you think you're using that to kind of relate to the world around you now? How are you using technology to make a difference now?
Well, now it's even more prominent to know how to utilize things like to do calls like this or to email so many people in like a chain or like a avenue. It's like so prominent to have a handle on technology because when things change in the world, we can be better equipped. And because technology is literally at your fingertips, it kind of um, cuts down on the hassle of like everything that's going on now, if that makes any sense. Did I
No,
answer
yeah,
your
for
question?
sure.
I don't know.
It does cut down on the hassle, right? Because now you
Yeah.
don't really have to worry about how do I use this instead, or like literally how do I make these buttons work? And instead you can focus on how do I use this to expand my message, right? You can focus on the
Right.
creativity of it.
Yes. So it's like coming up with your own system and utilizing like what we have around us to be creative or to be that voice or to use our avenues to advocate for change or to advocate for intersectionality and all these amazing things we can do. Like we can literally use these devices that we've grown up with and these platforms and these avenues that we've created for good and for change, which I don't feel like anybody ever thought. Like they didn't know that the future of technology would bring about a future of change and that we kind of have that change in the palm of our hands, literally. So I think that's super cool.
Literally in the palm of our hands. So what are some ways that you're using all of this technology to bring about that change that you're talking about?
So I use my platform as a channel that you could just come on if you are feeling down. You can see some positivity there. I put out a lot of positivity. I use a lot of bright colors. I also use it as like a channel of information. So like I'm curating and researching all these different things and all these different resources for people to come to my page and see. Like most recently, I just did I compiled a page of health resources and wellness for mental health. And so using my voice and my creativity, I composed a list of like places and things and people you can tap into for that. So it's basically just using what we have around us to see how we could spark that kind of change. Because also recently I thought about it and like designers are like the gatekeepers. Like we literally control so much. And I just realized that like 2 weeks ago. I was like, wow, designers are really powerful. We just need to know. Creatives in general are powerful. And then when you unlock how powerful you are, you're just like, what next? You know? So
It's a
I
big
think that's pretty cool.
responsibility.
Yeah, we're basically Spider-Man.
With great responsibility, or with great power comes
Yes,
great
power comes with
responsibility.
responsibility.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, I agree. I think people pay attention to visuals and that's
Mhm.
what they listen to more, and like that's what sticks. So how would you say or like what role do visuals play in the way that you're sharing information, right? Like what kind of things do you look for when you're making an illustration?
Movement, rhythm, color harmony. I'm really big on color harmony as of recently. I think that color palettes are really powerful. And when utilizing these things, I feel like it's really important that because the color has a language. It's like a color
Mm-hmm.
psychology behind everything. But I think what's super cool as a designer is that I could play with different colors and put them together. And like, I put colors together that aren't even supposed to go together, or like mix like cool and warm tones and stuff. Like it just visually it creates like a very pleasing palette, and I feel like it also feeds your mind. So yeah,
For sure. If any of you guys have the chance to scroll through his Instagram, it is just color everywhere at
it's like
Hippie
a
Potter.
feed.
I especially liked your one of your last posts with the black owned sauces and also the Latinx ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you kind of like talk through what that one was about and your thought process behind it?
Okay. Cool. So recently I was doing, there's a bunch of like problems. I don't know, like everybody's being so problematic. Like it's so weird. Like it's like all these companies are being really problematic.
2020.
And I'm just like, I need to create like a place where people can come and see other resources that are just alternatives, you know, like in general. So the first thing I did was it would happen with Starbucks. Starbucks was being really problematic during Pride, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. So I just created a list of Black-owned coffee shops that were in the metropolitan areas. So in the DMV area, New York and LA, that was the first in that series. And then people responded so well, and there were so many coffee shops who were just like, "Thank you so much." And you know, these are small businesses that are going through a lot during COVID. So I didn't know, but I was bringing them traffic to the people. Like there's some people who are sending me pictures of their coffee cups. Like, just tried this bittersweet coffee thanks to Harry Potter. And it's just like, I didn't know you guys, you guys really listen to me. That's crazy. But anyways, so that was the start of it. And then something happened with like Aunt Jemima. And then like I had to create like a list of like Black owned breakfasts that people could actually support, or breakfast like foods and stuff. And then something happened with Goya, and I'm just like, again? I mean, obviously this is feeding me creatively, but come on, guys, come on. So I recently created a list of Black owned seasonings and Latinx owned seasonings too, just for people to support, like for people to feel comfortable with putting their money in other avenues, because I know that Goya is really popular. So my job as a designer was to create a new narrative and control the narrative. That way it's much more in a positive light. Like there are other companies who are just as good, and there are smaller companies who need to be shed some light on. So I just put together a list of like sauces, beans, and other like popular things that I know that the other company sells a lot of, that I can just give them alternatives. You know, that's why options exist, so people could like try different things. So I thought that it was really cool to create like this really warm piece of like sauces. It's very warm. It's like a color like craze, and it's like super cool. I was going for like a really spicy, warm vibe because I love spices
You do get
in
spicy
general.
vibes from it.
Yeah, see. So yeah, that's what the new piece is about. So I mean, I'll just keep making them in series of people just come out and be more problematic. I don't know, but I'm going to continue to create that voice for small businesses, and I think that's where I've blended my creativity to, was being that kind of avenue between how can I support a small business kind of thing, and like in light of COVID and things. But I'm glad that you like the list, and hopefully you shop from some of the people on that list because they have really good products.
No, yes. Next time there is a scandal in the media with a company, I will check out what your
Just
list of
check my
suggestions
page.
are for sure.
I'll try to cover it.
So I like how you were saying you're using creativity for all of this positive change in light of all these social justice movements and in light of COVID. So how do you think COVID has affected you, a working professional, and how do you think COVID is going to continue changing like this whole work from home? Like how is this different than what you were expecting when you graduated?
Okay, this is insane. COVID literally changed the game. Like it changed the game. And also it made so many things like attainable, which is a kind of a positive side of everything. But it's like all these companies kind of can't do this thing where like they play like this. I don't know. I feel like especially agencies and stuff, they pretend like they're untouchable. And so you have to go through so many avenues and so many people to get to them. And so even as like going to other like job, what do you call them? What do you call them? Job fairs and stuff. And people who are like hiring for interns, like it's literally changed the game. Like they're like my friends who all applied for MAPE and got into MAPE, it became a whole different thing where like they're not even just limited to that specific agency now. Now they get to learn from so many other agencies. So it kind of forces the creative like industry to be creative. So it's a super cool balance and things, and like it just really breaks down the wall of like, it breaks down that extra level. Like I feel like the creatives are here and the agencies are up here. And so COVID like was like right here. And so like now we're all here now. So now it's forcing the agencies to talk to those creatives directly and like not have such a bravado. Like I feel like they have this mystique and they're always trying to be the cool guy in the scene. And it's like, you're not even that cool. You're just regular like me. And so like now, in light of the recent event, it's forcing them to be more transparent and it's forcing them to like reach out and it's forcing them to seek that extra voice and to see like, especially with like underrepresented groups and minorities and things, identifying as a woman, being Black, being Latinx, like all of these things, being Asian, like these are forcing these companies to actually do the groundwork and like get off that high horse. And I feel like it is literally going to be pivotal now. I feel like now we kind of have like a fighting chance because like they're forced, like what do you call it? The visibility. That's what it is. The visibility, like the amplification of visibility right now is so heightened. And I love that because there are so many people who deserve to be seen. There are so many people who have been doing the work but have not been able to have that gaze. And I feel like this forces the agencies to open their eyes. That is powerful.
That is so powerful. I know. And
How do you feel?
I was looking at internships for the fall, and I mean, I'm still going to be a student. So in my mind, I was like, okay, what can I find around Chapel Hill, North Carolina? And then I started to
Exactly.
realize, everything is remote right now. I can work for any company all around the country, right? And it doesn't matter. I mean,
Literally.
maybe time zones might be a little bit of an issue, but I mean, even now I'm on East Coast working for a West Coast time company and I'm making it work. So it's definitely helping with leveling the playing field. All of those who, I mean, you're lucky you're in New York, but you could also be working for someone in LA, right? I mean, just now
Right.
it's where you live isn't an issue anymore.
That's insane to me. Like, I know that one of my friends is also in the creative field. He is a copywriter, and like he's waking up to have meetings at like 9 o'clock in the morning, like to have meetings to like in Germany time, and I'm just like, what? But it's also like possible. Like it's possible. It's all possible, which is really interesting too, because I feel like there were so many things pre-COVID that was like kind of unnecessary, and like the waiting process was kind of unnecessary. And it's just like now because of visibility and amplification, it's just like the world is yours. Even with like MAPE and stuff and like other creative like platforms, it's like they would sort you by like where you want to go, and it's like now you can go everywhere and anywhere. Like you can literally be like, we're in the Matrix. You're infinite,
We're
basically, and it's
in the
so
Matrix.
cool.
We can go anywhere and everywhere. Well, we are
Yeah.
running out of time here, unfortunately. So if there was just one message that you would want to convey to the world, what is it? No pressure.
I have it. I always have it. Your voice matters.
Oh, that's
That is it.
that is it. That is I, your voice matters. And how are you kind of sharing that message? What would you say specifically to students as to how they can make their voice heard?
My advice to them would be to find their truest true, like find what is most genuine to them and expand upon it. Like all of your plights, all of your triumphs, utilize that and really take a look at who you are as an individual and as a creative. And then once you amplify those messages, that is your truest self and people will be drawn to you. So find your voice and don't have any pressure with finding it because it takes a while. I still haven't found my voice yet all the way. I feel like I'm getting into the groove, but I feel like when you get into the groove, you'll know.
Find your voice and your voice matters. Well, thank you so much for being in this segment with me. I know I've learned so much. I'm sure everyone who's listening has learned so much. So thank you all, and make sure to follow Thaddeus, aka Hippie Potter, on Instagram. Follow Adobe for EDU. We have great resources for students. And next time you see a scandal in the media, tune in because Hippie Potter will have suggestions.
Or if you just want to come and have a good time, I'm here.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, Thaddeus.
Later.
See ya.
Hi everyone, my name is Ibelis, and it's such an honor to share this space with you all. Shout out to the 3% conference team for this opportunity to share with you a little bit on what it means to be lit on purpose and how we can all be creative for a change. But first, I would like to share a personal poem with you. Crashing and burning, the world in demise. It's falling apart right before our freaking eyes. And I'm tired of the fake news and all that lies. I agonize, I look up to the sky, the sun's still smiling, my lungs still breathing. I swear to God, I've been sent here for a reason, to inspire you to pursue your own dreams. Because action creates confidence, and that's what we need, to be the change that we want to see. Alarm's been ringing, it's not too late to wake ourselves up from this senseless state. Start asking questions, ask yourself why, use your own senses and sniff out the lies. So I wrote this poem at one of my deepest and darkest moments of my depression a couple of years ago, where the status of humanity and the future of our planet was just really weighing me down. I like to say that I'm apocalyptic yet radically optimistic, and particularly, especially after the 2016 election, life just wasn't the same for me. Going to work every day wasn't the same for me. And even though I had carved out a career for myself in corporate social responsibility, at the time I was working in disaster resilience, I just felt like the weight of the world was too much. Yet being the problem solver that I am, I just couldn't sit still. The corporate world is a tough place to navigate and be, and I wasn't seeing the change that I really wanted to embody and see for myself. And so I decided to leave the creative agency world to start my own. It's called Bombilla, a branding and design agency for social change, based out of my living room here in Oakland, California. And we're actually a national network of diverse creatives of all disciplines who are lit on purpose and using their creative skills to make change. And so why are we here? Unless you've been living under a rock, which no judgment if you do, the world is on fire, no matter what corner of the world you're looking at. And with that comes overwhelm, anxiety, anguish, anger, and those are a lot of heavy feelings to carry and navigate. And they are also normal feelings as well. But where are we directing this energy? What are we doing with it outside of getting paralyzed and falling deep into depression? We know that the status quo sucks. That's why we're here today to talk about the radically inclusive future of work. And if you're here today, it's because you also have hope in something better. So what might happen next? My guess is as good as yours, to be honest. I think we're learning the hard way, humbling for sure, that nothing is predictable. Everything is unpredictable, nothing is predictable. But what I do know is that we have an opportunity for transformation, and it's happening right before our eyes. And so today I would like for you to just walk away with some clarity and some ideas on how you can make those transformations for yourself, starting with where you are today. And one thing's for sure is that now time is of the essence to think outside of the box. Right now, the box is not working. We're all struggling and suffering. We're all being impacted by these negative forces. And so for those of us who are courageous enough to think outside the box and make change, there's a lot of work cut out for us, but it's better to be positively future-focused and minded, recognizing that we're living ancestors. So what kind of history do we want to leave behind? So take a breath. I know it's a lot. There's a lot going on, but we can only start with where we are, and that's here and now. And so recognizing that you have everything you need to make change. You don't need another degree or more money or a special title or position to be able to lead and live on purpose. And so one thing I do want to let you know is that you will need a piece of paper. And if you can, fold it into 3. And you'll use this as your Lit on Purpose guide, which I'll walk you through a little bit later, to help you identify those ways you can make change today. So I realize that I'm gabbing a lot without fully formally introducing myself. As I mentioned, I like to say I'm apocalyptic yet radically optimistic. I'm always thinking about disaster planning. If you've ever read Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler, I am Lauren. And, you know, I've always been fascinated by the power of communication to inform, influence, and inspire. And I've intentionally used my career to explore what that change looks like. I know I'm blessed and grateful to know what my creative gifts are, and I've just prototyped and experimented in different spaces and places using those skills. So I've worked inside major creative agencies, inside nonprofits. I've worked with government clients, Fortune 500 clients, nonprofits, and small businesses, and all of that culminating into launching my own company so that we can work on issues and injustices that we hold close to our heart. So bombilla means light bulb in Spanish, and it's symbolic of the power we all have to make change and to make the world brighter. And so a bombilla is a human being who has awakened to their gifts and to issues and injustices that they're passionate about, and they're finding actively ways to take creative action and to not just sit still. And so bombillas are lit on purpose. And what's beautiful is that we truly need players in all positions. So it doesn't matter if you're in the nonprofit sector, social sector, government sector, if you're an essential worker, if you're a caregiver. We literally need everyone at all levels, at all ages, of all skill sets to be activated on addressing the greatest challenges of our time. I like to say that we can all be gainfully employed by the sheer number of social and environmental issues that we have ahead of us, and we can all angle our careers, our community service giving, our values, and how we show up in the world to address these conditions. So in the words of Dr. Howard Thurman, don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive and go do it, because what the world needs is people who have come alive. And that could be you. So, you know, in a world that's driven by profit, we know where that has led us. I would like to just point to some forms of currency that we have and that each of us carry. And so courage is one of them. The courage to ask questions and to sniff out the lies, the courage to hold systems accountable and other people accountable, the courage to be your full authentic self, especially in a world that squashes that, right? It really starts with us stepping into our own personal power and realizing that we each all have a voice and a lived experience that nobody can take away from us, right? To add to that, our creativity. I encourage you to think about creativity beyond artistic abilities. Creativity is not whether or not you could draw well or make music or write. It's truly using one of the greatest non-renewable resources we have as human beings. How do you explain where inspiration comes from, or inventions or ideas? How do we come up with something out of nothing, right? So whether you're making something with your hands, with the power of your voice or your brain, we're all creative, and we can all use that creativity to not only invent amazing things like airplanes, but to also address the consequences of fossil fuel driven airplanes that we've all enjoyed over these past few decades to take us around the world, right? And so this is what gives me hope. The fact that creativity is something that we're all born with, and that can be cultivated, and is truly one of the answers to the mess, to get out of the mess that we're currently in. And with courage and creativity, we also need community. We need spaces where we feel safe, where we belong, where we are aligned and share the same values and passions, a place where, whether it's virtual or in person, where we can be our full selves and have the opportunity to be real, be vulnerable, experiment, learn, be held accountable, and just share with others. One thing that the pandemic has certainly proven to us is how much we need each other, right? So we need community in order for all of us to survive and thrive. And lastly, with community, we also need collaboration, which means we all need to come to the table with our unique gifts and talents, and also learn to work with others and to work across difference, to work through conflict resolution, because without collaboration, what's going to happen to the economy or to our society as a whole? And what's been beautiful about the internet, right, is that it has made some levels of collaboration borderless and seamless. And so between our courage, our creativity, community, and collaboration, I know we have the tools to come alive as a society and to truly address everything that's going on. It's not going to be easy, and it might not happen in our lifetimes, but that's where the hope comes in. So it's time to make change, y'all. So how can we start? Well, here are 3 ways you can get started today. And don't forget about your piece of paper and your 3 panels. So to start, we all need to walk with an attitude of gratitude. Every single day when you wake up is another opportunity to just take stock of what you have, everything that you need in this moment. You might not have it all, but if you're currently, sitting in front of a computer at this moment, I can guarantee that you have many blessings to count and to be grateful for. And so when the world can feel really heavy and hopeless, gratitude is a form of light that you can invite into your life, even when it feels really hard. And so in your first panel, I encourage you to write down things that you're grateful for right here, right now in this moment, as well as things that bring you joy and that make you come alive, because those are things to be grateful for too. We still have the power to smile, even when it feels like, or even when the world is on fire. And secondly, start small. We can only start with where we are and what we have. And small changes lead to incremental changes, which is why I'm a big believer that if we all individually make change for ourselves, it's going to have a halo effect, an incremental ripple effect that positively impacts those around us. So for example, I've been vegetarian, or flexitarian as I like to say, for the past few years, and that didn't happen overnight. After realizing how meat negatively impacts not only my health, but the economy and the environment, I decided to make a choice. And that choice was to reduce meat. And I started off with beef burgers. And over time, I reduced all forms of burgers except veggie patties. And then, now I'm confidently, having a plant-based diet, but that took years, and I started small, and the ripple effect is influencing my friends and family to eat better because they're curious about the changes I've seen for myself. They're curious about my recipes and what my experience has been. So I can't force it upon other people, but by changing myself, I changed others around me. So again, start with where you are. What are those changes you can make today? Realizing that if you have the power of choice, that's a privilege. So if you can choose where you spend your money, if you can choose, the type of media you consume, the type of companies and issues that you support, then you have a position and a privilege to make change. And so recognizing the system stops with us, right? So in choosing to reduce my meat intake, I was stopping the system that is harming not only humans and our health, but also environmental health as well. And so small changes lead to big impact, and don't underestimate how much change you can make just by focusing on yourself and what you need and what is speaking to you as a purpose and as a passion. And so when you start with yourself, you'll realize wow, you can positively impact your roommates, your family, your neighborhood, your school, and your community. And if you're feeling courageous and ready enough, you'll have a ripple effect that can be felt around the world. So as Gloria Ansardu likes to say, I changed myself, I change the world. And last but not least, do something. Again, the feelings of anger, anxiety, and anguish can really be paralyzing, but we can take action. If you're like me, we can't sit still. And so this is an opportunity for you to use your creative gifts, whether or not they're artistic, remember. And so if you're really good with numbers, or you're crazy good at building things, or you're a really good cook or have a green thumb, by taking action in ways that speak to you and that speak to your gifts, you're going to be lit on purpose, and you're going to radiate and positively impact people around you. And so for me, I've always been passionate about the use of power, the power of creative self-expression to raise awareness on issues and that need action and attention. And so ever since a kid, right, I've been blending those two things. So, I wrote a song about the bully blues after experiencing bullying myself when I was in middle school. I branded and built a company in high school inspired by my grandmother's language barriers. And I've carved out a career where I can use my creative skills to, positively impact the world through branding, marketing, and design. And it looks different for everybody, right? You can use your career, you can use how you just lead and live as a person, how you are as a family member, as a friend, and how you give back to your own community. In the words of Maxine Hahn Kingston, in a time of destruction, create something. It's the best thing that we can do, honestly, and it's a way to creatively just get things out, whether it's cooking, exercising, creating and making art, conducting a hobby that really brings you joy. It's so important right now, especially to get off screens when and where possible, because that also isn't fully healthy either. And a lot of life happens offline, right? So just encouraging you to not only take care of yourself, but to find ways to let those emotions out. And so bringing back our piece of paper and our 3 panels. So we first started off with keeping an attitude of gratitude and just reminding yourself every day of what your blessings are, reminding yourself of what makes you come alive and what brings you joy, what inspires you. I realized we didn't touch on the second panel, but using this section to just list out all the small changes you've been wanting to make for yourself and tying those changes to how they will positively impact people around you, right? So let's say you want to become healthier, right? One way to become healthier is to walk places instead of using your car. And by walking, you're reducing your environmental footprint. By walking, you might bump into a neighbor and make a new friend. So you see how that one small change can have a ripple effect. So, and also thinking about what are courageous ways you can assert yourself and stand up. We can only start with where we are. And then finally, on the do something front, think about all the social and environmental issues that really fire you up and all the ways that you are creative beyond just artistic talents and gifts. So you can think about, what you like to do with your hands, problems that you enjoy solving in and outside of work, things that you're crazy good at that people say like, hey, wow, you're really good at this, And honestly, it can just be things that you are formally trained in, things that you've specialized in through experience and education. And so with these 3 panels, right, you do have a guide to the things that matter most to you, the things that you are grateful for today, the small changes that you can make, and all the creative ways you can make small changes and do what makes you come alive. So I don't know if you read Parable of the Sower or Parable of the Talents by Octavia E. Butler. She's an amazing Black science fiction writer that I highly, highly recommend. And in one of her books that's very futurist and apocalyptic and dystopian is all about these hard changes that we're going through right now. And so I'll leave you with one of the most powerful quotes in that book. Kindness eases change, love quiets fear, and a sweet and powerful positive obsession blunts pain, diverts rage, and engages each of us in the greatest, the most intense of our chosen struggles. So thank you so much for your time today. Just want to leave you with a reminder that individually we are lit on purpose and together we make the world brighter. I hope that you're feeling inspired and at least have some clarity on ways that you can make change and be lit on purpose for yourself. I would love to hear from you. So if you feel comfortable, please share your panel with us on Instagram, tag us at Bombilla Creative, and I look forward to seeing you online. Thank you so much. Stay blessed.
Everybody. I'm Claire Wasserman. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm going to walk you through a presentation that is supposed to take 10 to 12 minutes. I tend to talk a lot, so I might talk fast just to make sure that we stay within time. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. All right, so you guys have the great luck and honor of graduating in 2020. Okay, great year, right? Now what? Graduating is stressful at any year, but you have a particular set of challenges now. I like to see challenges as opportunities to problem solve. So I'm going to try to stay positive here with you guys. Quickly, I'm the founder of Ladies Get Paid. Come check us out, ladiesgetpaid.com. We are a network that helps women advance professionally and financially. We've got about 70,000 women in the community who all talk to each other, support each other, and it's completely free, so you have no excuse not to join. Overview of today, growing your network, acing the interview, and things that I wish I'd known when I was your age. Number one, most important thing that you can have in your life is your network. It's your relationships. And if you're thinking to yourself, I don't really know anybody who can help me get a job or, help me in my career, don't worry about it, because you do know some people who are very well networked themselves, right? They are very valuable to you. I highly recommend a book. Go check out How to Be a Power Connector by Judy Robinet. So she says, let's take about 50 people in our network and stay in touch with them, right? Because the consistency of being in touch, that's how you build the relationship. It's not the one-time Zoom, right? All right, I want you to think about who you know, even if you don't know them well, but who you know who themselves knows a lot of people. I call that person a portal person, right? They're the gateway to a lot of interesting things going on. And if you don't know anybody who's like that, I definitely encourage you to join a community like Ladies Get Paid, so you could start to connect with other people. Now, the reason that person is valuable is whatever you're looking for in your life, whether it's a job or you're looking to hire somebody, right? Or you want to figure out how much to charge, they're going to probably know somebody who can help you, or they're going to know somebody who knows somebody who can help you. Now, I want you to reach out to them and tell them that you took this class, you're feeling really inspired, and you want to start increasing your network, and you really admire them, right? And then be specific with them about what exactly you're looking for. So if there's a certain kind of job that you're interested in learning more about, or there's a company, right, ask them, is there somebody in their network that they would be gracious enough to introduce you to? Here's the thing though, you want to make it as easy as possible on them. So don't write a whole long, chapter of a book here. Be very concise, right? And always ask if you can support them. Keep this organized. You could do it in a spreadsheet. I use a platform called Airtable. So keep track of who are the people that you're reaching out to, what information and access do they have. And something that's great about having this organized is when somebody asks you for a connection, you're already going to know in the back of your mind, oh wait, there was this person that I met and her name was Claire, right? She runs Ladies Get Paid. Like I mentioned before, staying in touch is everything. Best way to stay in touch, in my opinion, and this is a secret, and I'm letting you in on the secret, is every time you see a news article and it makes you think of that person, send them an email, send them the article and say, hey, came across this, thought you might be interested. Don't do it every day, right? But maybe try to do it every 3 months. Just reach out and say, hey, I saw this article, or, have an alert on for their birthday, and make sure that you're following them on LinkedIn so you get their updates. And don't feel like you can't also mention your own updates. Hey, how you doing? Thought of you. P.S. I had a great interview the other day. I'm super excited about it. Okay. The next key to growing your network, it's not just relying on other people, it's also helping them meet new people. This is very important to do, and there is an etiquette to it. So take notes, guys. Okay. if you are the one who is connecting somebody, right? Because you have the spreadsheet, you organized it, you're like, I think that Claire should meet Ashley because they have something in common. Before I go ahead and introduce Claire and Ashley, I gotta go ask Ashley if she's okay with the connection, right? Because if you just throw a bunch of people up on an email chain together and you didn't ask if they wanted to be connected, very awkward, right? People are busy, right? You wanna make sure that everybody has essentially opted in to this relationship. So you ask permission. Okay. When you connect everybody together, be extremely clear about why it is that you're making the introduction. Here's what not to do. I get put on emails all the time that say, hey, you guys both run lady companies, figured you could, make a partnership. Well, there's a lot of people out there who are, female advocates. That's great, but maybe try to find something more specific that you think we could partner on, right? Maybe it's because you've sat with both of us and you understand our needs a little bit more, right? That's on the connector side. Now, if you're the person who's being connected, and remember in the last slide, we talked about that that's a goal from those portal people, you have to thank them because they're essentially spending their social capital. If they introduce people together and let's say you don't follow up, right, you're flaky, well, that's embarrassing for the other person, right? So thank them, right? And make sure you let them know how it went. So when you're introduced to somebody, you go back to that first person and say, thank you so much. I followed up with them. We're going to be meeting next week, right? And then keep them posted on the relationship because they'll also want to know, how's it going? Let's talk about cold outreach. Good news, COVID. Okay, not good news, COVID, but I'm finding that people are, I think, a lot more generous with their time nowadays. So this is the time to do cold outreach to people you don't know. Although, of course, it's better if you can get what's called a warm introduction. Now, you find somebody on LinkedIn, you think that they, could teach you something, you admire their career. When you reach out to them, you have to make it personal because if this looks like it is some mass CC'd, BCC'd email, that's nobody wants that. So find something that you within their LinkedIn profile or that you discovered about them and call it out, right? Don't write an extremely long email because nobody has time to read it, right? But be specific about why them and why you're reaching out, right? Maybe even put 3 bullet points of things that you're looking for from them. Respect their time. That is probably the most important thing about the cold outreach. Don't just ask, can you get on a call with me? Right? Because that could be a long time. It's a lot of effort. Give them the option of responding to you by email, but say if it is easier to hop on a call and you have an extra 15 minutes, I would of course love that. The reason it's great to say 15 minutes or you can say 20 is that it's a finite amount of time. And so that person you're reaching out to can sort of wrap their head around what is the commitment that I'm going to have to now make to this person that I'm engaging with. After all of that, after you're in touch, how can you support them? I know as somebody who's maybe more junior, you might think that, what could you possibly offer them? Doesn't matter, offer it anyway, right? The thought is what counts, but also chances are that you can support them. Just this morning, I was interviewing this woman who, way above where I am in my career, super impressive, super famous. And I asked her, how can I support you? And her answer was really simple. It was, if you've bought my book, which I had, she said, can you please leave a good review on Amazon? That helps her, and guess what? It helps me, and it helps me develop the relationship further with her. Keeping her updated along the way, and something to remember, guys, polite persistence. If somebody does not respond to you, you have to reach out again. Oftentimes, I don't respond to people because I don't have time, and the only people I end up responding to are those that followed up with me because it shows that they're committed, right? I would wait maybe 7 days to do that. Right? And don't just bump up the email again, like forwarding it, copy and paste what you'd written before and then write a nice little, hey, friendly follow-up here, right? I know you have time. I just wanted to flag this for you. If they still don't respond in the next 10 days, give it one last chance, acknowledge that, that you're, coming back in their inbox and that you completely understand if this isn't the right time. And that's the thing. I have been not responded to and denied in my career maybe a couple of years ago, but guess what? I've now sat on panel discussions with those people. And guess what? They email me back, right? So, there's something to be said about timing. So don't get discouraged if they don't respond to you. Now, within this network that you're building, I want you to be thinking about what is my personal board of advisors going to look like? We talk a lot about mentorship. I think there's pressure, we have to find this mentor. That is the key to your success. Listen, I have many people in my life who play many different roles. A lot of them, what you're seeing right now on the screen, and they have no idea that they're my mentors. And that's because I didn't get down on bended knee and say, will you be my mentor, right? Because the relationship evolved organically, and it felt like I would be, asking them for some larger commitment than we already had. So don't feel like any of this has to be official, but it is something that you should have in the back of your mind as you are networking in your career. Let me define these real quick. And speaking of quick, I know I'm speaking fast, so hopefully you're able to keep up. So mentors is somebody who, has life wisdom that they can share. They don't have to be in your industry or your job. One of my mentors is in real estate. I am not in real estate. He's also a man. I'm not a man. But he has shared a lot of advice from his own life that have just been really illuminating to me. So I consider him a mentor. A coach, on the other hand, is somebody who does know what it takes to do what you do, okay? So they're in your industry, in your field, and they can help you with some skills that you're looking for, right? How do you pitch an investor, let's say, right? That would be a coach. A guide is somebody who can kind of show you the ropes of how things operate. So a great example, a guide would be at the company that you're working for, or hopefully, in the future, a company that you're working for, and they can give you a little bit of insight into, office dynamics or things like, protocols, where the copying machine is. A lot of times those guides are people who've been at the company for a long time. They also could include people like HR or executive assistants or even the IT people, right? Because they have to fix everybody's computer. So a person who's basically tapped into like all the behind the scenes stuff. Sponsors. If you had to pick one thing on this whole list that will get you to the next level, that is a sponsor. Now, sponsors are not people who give you money. Maybe they can, but that's not the kind of sponsor I'm talking about. The kind of sponsor I'm talking about is a person who has a lot of influence, who can advocate on your behalf. Usually this is somebody within the company that you work for. I mean, maybe you're not at the company quite yet, but it's finding people who have clout, who, if they put in a good word, doors will open for you. For example, a person at the company who goes, I think you should hire Ashley, right? Or I think Ashley should get a promotion, right? So in thinking about who to cultivate those relationships with, this person has to have influence. They have to be in those rooms where decisions are made. Develop relationships with them. Be strategic about it. You're not using them, right? Well, you are using them if you're not genuine about it, right? These relationships have to be authentic. And if you don't actually like the person, don't develop the relationship. It's not going to be real, and it's not going to work out for everybody. But just make sure that you want to be connecting with people who aren't just on your level or a little bit above, that there are also some real heavy hitters out there. And it's okay to ask them straight up after you've developed a relationship, I really want to go for this thing. What's your advice on how to best advocate for myself? And they might just say, listen, Ashley, I'll put in a good word for you. Managers and peers. So when you get this job, your first job, please develop an extremely strong relationship with your manager, because they are going to determine pretty much your success at the company. And I'm talking about the projects that you get, if you get a raise or a promotion, right? They have the front row seat to everything that you're doing. Managers can be scary because you want to do a good job. And sometimes when you want to do a good job, you might feel like, well, I can't really ask questions, or I don't want to seem like I don't know what I'm doing. But it is so important that you guys be on the same page. And the only way you can do that is if you communicate. And that means asking questions. That means verifying priorities. So I could teach a whole class on what to do your first year at your job. That's not today's talk, but do keep in mind that establishing really good communication with your manager is super important. Finally, your peers, right? Whether they're people that you've graduated with, folks you've met now, or your colleagues at your next job. There is a lot of value in cultivating those relationships, because oftentimes your next jobs, right? Your next opportunities come from the people that you've worked directly with. So don't just assume, well, because they're, on my level, that they can't bring me value. No, it's mutually beneficial for everybody to help everybody, right? And let, rising tide lifts all boats. That is definitely a way to approach life. All right, we got to ace the interview. So the goal of increasing your network is hopefully you've gotten in the door somewhere. First, there's an informational interview. right? So that's meeting with somebody to even see if you want to work at that company, if they think you'd be a good fit. And the goal from that is, all right, let's have them make the introduction to the hiring manager. Oftentimes, a lot of jobs that are open are actually not even listed online. So even if you don't see your dream job at your dream company, you should still reach out to somebody at the company to explore understanding this company, right? Maybe in the future there'll be an opportunity, because chances are there might be an opportunity now. Okay, so you get the introduction, you're gonna do this interview, you have to know what your wins are. If you're still in college or if you just graduated, you might think, well, I don't really have any wins or I don't have professional experience, so what am I gonna talk about? Guys, they're hiring you for you, right? They're hiring you because you are human and they have faith that you can learn fast, right? Be resilient, efficient, creative, right? There are so many skills that you actually can bring to the table. So even though professional experience is super important, don't feel like, that's all that you need to have. So reflecting in your personal life, but also in college the last few years, I really encourage you to think about when things were tough, right? When there were obstacles, how did you handle them, right? Obviously, whenever you took initiative or you went above and beyond, that makes you look really great. Do put it through the filter of what you're actually excited to talk about and what you're really proud of. Because just because you did something really great, like, I don't know, create a spreadsheet communication system or, something that really helped everybody, but you hated doing it, don't talk about it, because you're effectively raising your hand and saying, I want to do more of this, right? So only talk about the things that you're jazzed to talk about, even if they're not traditional work experiences. I want you to start keeping what's called a brag book. This is whenever you get great feedback from somebody, just take a screenshot. If it's an email, put it in a folder, right? Because essentially these are your testimonials. So when you go in and you talk about your wins, it's not just, hey, take my word for it, but it's, hey, this is what my professor said about me. Ideas for the future. That's huge, right? Come in with enthusiasm and offer your own suggestions for what you think your job can be. Superpowers. This is the kind of EQ, right? The emotional intelligence and who you are. Enthusiasm, positivity, ability to lead, detail-oriented, team builder, patience. There are so many more. Why don't you go ask somebody? So what feels effortless to you? How do you make others feel? Who can help you figure this out? This is where getting feedback from other people is really helpful. What I'd love you to do with your superpowers is be able to tie what you did, who you are, with the impact that it had, right? Because your enthusiasm isn't that nice to have, right? Your enthusiasm really helped keep things moving, helped rally your teammates to accomplish a project, right? So you have to be able to call those out, but also basically weave them into a story. And speaking of story, you want to structure it. The best way to structure it is what I call the STAR method. This is an acronym. We got STAR. Super quickly, set the scene. We're taking one of your wins here. Give us some context, right? Were the stakes high? Task, all right, what were you asked to do or what did you do? Okay, but the action is also how did you do it? And this is where I think you can really show your resilience, creativity, fast learner, right? All those things that we want to know about you as a human. Bring it out in that part. And the last one here is, and please do your best, can you try to quantify the results in some way? That can be a bit difficult to do. So if you can go back to a previous manager or your professor or an advisor or friends and say, whatever happened to what we did, right? What was the impact that it had? That is really important. Finally here, before I get into the things that I wish I'd known, a couple of interview do's and don'ts. Please do research the company's values. It's not just on their website, it's on LinkedIn. There are probably articles their CEO wrote. Understanding what their values can then help you demonstrate to them why you also have those values, right? This is what they like to call a culture fit, right? And that you're a team player. I'd love you to print out the job description and your resume, bring that in. When you look at the job description, speak to your experience and who you are based on what you've understood about the job description, right? Make the connection for them that you are the right person for the job. And then talk about your why. Why are you there? Not just I need a job, but like, why do you give a shit, right? And then finally, don't be late. Obviously, don't dominate the conversation. I really encourage you to make this a goal of more of a give and take. Ask questions, please. Ask questions, have them prepared, ask them on the fly. Do your best to make this feel like it's two peers sharing a really interesting dialogue together. And finally, we've got a couple of things that I wish I'd known. Define success on your own terms. So do notice if in your life you are constantly using the word should. I should do this or I shouldn't do this. That probably means somebody else's voice is in your head. Maybe it's your parent, maybe it's your school, whatever it is. Really listen to instinctually what feels right to you, right? And then you can start making decisions around, well, what actually is right and can it pay me? Please let go of perfectionism, let go, because you know what perfectionism does? It often stops you from taking risks, or it makes you procrastinate, right? So done is better than perfect. Plus, if you want to learn new things, you want to do new things, right? You're going to stumble, right? And you need those mistakes, or those failures or stumbles in order to grow and to be better. And if you're feeling self-doubt about all of this, every single person feels this way. And oftentimes we think we're the only one. Trust me, we've got 70,000 women and ladies get paid. I have seen over 10,000 of them in person. Every single person raises their hand when I ask them, do they feel self-doubt? Chart your progress by how much you learn in everything. So it's not, that you accomplished something and it had a great result. It's also, did I learn something? And if you didn't learn, then you probably weren't challenged enough. So you want to always be putting yourself in a bit of an uncomfortable situation if you can, because that'll make you grow. Work smart, right? So obviously work hard, but I think too often people assume, well, if I'm putting in the hours, then that's working hard. Well, it's actually about what you're doing. So if you can try to get the work done in shorter hours and conserve your energy, because guess what? Burnout is real and it sucks. Find those hacks. Time management is huge. Last two things here are your career is an obstacle course. It is not like this. Progress is also not linear. You're going to take dips and turns. There is never a wrong move, with the exception of if you hate what you do and it is a toxic environment, I need you to quit. That's why you have to have your savings. Lots of financial advice that needs to happen, but we don't have time for it today. How can you positively impact others? This is a fabulous life mantra, because if you go in that direction, you will be committed, right? And when you are committed to something and you're doing it because you love it and you want to help other people, you're going to do your best, and I guarantee you the money will come. End of the day, guys, you are your number one advocate. Please go get paid. Do your best. I know it's tough in this environment. I'm here for you. Again, please join ladiesgetpaid.com. You can also follow me on Instagram at Claire Wasserman XO. I'm super excited for you guys. I know it's a scary time, but you can also make things what you want, because the world's a little bit turned upside down right now. So this might also be a good time to get that side hustle going and start collaborating with friends and, make your own opportunity. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good day. Welcome back. Yes.
Yo.
I don't know if you got double music during that intro. I just realized I had two things playing, but we got a double vibe check because we are vibing.
Two for
today.
one.
Yes, two for one. We were vibing. I've been rocking out to Chromatica. So thanks for being here and not on Lady Gaga's YouTube channel listening to the album and not watching the live stream of Hairspray that's happening right now on YouTube. Thanks for being here with us at office hours. My name is Andrew Hockrattle. Who are you, person next to me?
I am Nick Longo from Los Angeles.
I like you thought about it.
I know. I was going to come up with something clever, but I think both of us have been on screens far too long in the last few days. Just going to leave it safe.
Yes, Vanessa, thanks for joining us. Been waiting all day, taking some notes. Yes, it's going to be a fun time. That many funs. Excellent. That was a lot of funs.
That was a lot of funs.
Yeah. Hello, Gregory, Katrina, Hello, Lisa. So many friends. So thanks for hanging out with us today. If you've never joined us before, Office Hours is a live show that happens every Friday at 1 p.m. where Nick Longo and I give you feedback about how to step up your portfolios, how to get noticed in the market scene.
Marketplace.
And general tomfoolery and shenanigans. There's a lot of shenanigans here on this stream.
Yes. And we will review portfolios with our topic in mind. What's our topic today, Andrew?
So our topic today, in the description down below, says something a little bit different. That's actually next week.
Next week.
If you guys are like, oh, I'm so excited for this topic, come back next week. We're going to be talking about...
we're marketing geniuses.
Yes, marketing geniuses. Today we will be focused on getting noticed. What is the way to get noticed in your portfolio? What is a way to stand out among the crowd and really communicate who you are as a creative and as a designer? Yeah,
I'd love to know if anybody in the chat who is actively looking for a job, yo, what's up, Steven? Let us know. Tell us.
Yes.
I'd love to know who's looking for a job. What are the hurdles? What are those things that you're finding to be a bit more struggling now more than ever because of the job market? Our goal today is to give you some tips as far as how to stand out. And I can't wait to get into some of these portfolios later as well to show you what's working and what's not.
Yes, so fun. Nick, where can people find you on social media?
Wow, you guys can find me at Longo Designs on Instagram and Longo Designs Inc. on Twitter. We are fully engaged with all this and find you guys all throughout the week. So yeah, definitely hit us up there.
It's true. And I'm on all social media at hoch.co, HOCHDOTCO, no punctuation, all letters. And yeah, tweet at us, Instagram at us, tag us in posts, take a screenshot right now of us doing this weird face. And then you can post it and let us know, follow along. So some other ways that you can get involved in our community. Nick, my favorite part of the show, pointing above us, you can go to this bit.ly link and that will get you into our Slack. And that is where we help you connect with other people who are looking to improve their portfolios, get some feedback, and just generally get involved with the community. It's so important to get involved with the creative community. Nick and I were just talking before this. The reason that we're doing this show is because we jumped in and went to a conference together and got involved in the creative community. So we can't do that right now, but Slack is just as good. Go hang out and make some new connections there.
It's the new conference.
It's the new conference. Exactly Canceled Con is the new conference.
Yeah. That was my setup just for you.
Thank you. Shameless plug. Let's hop over and I'm going to show you one more way that you can get involved. And that is the daily creative challenges. They're happening right now with Julia. She'll be continuing through next week. And if you stick in 2 weeks, I will be back as your host for another daily creative challenge. We will be doing a cooking show and learning the basics of Illustrator through the lens of cooking, which is going to be really fun. So you can check these out and get involved, watch replays from this week. I also want to highlight a very awesome opportunity for all of you, and that is Adobe Portfolio. Nick, have you used Adobe Portfolio before?
100%.
Yes. Have you had students use Adobe Portfolio?
More ways than one. Yes, definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Adobe Portfolio is great. I believe it's included with Creative Cloud. I know right now, I think that the first 60 days are free. I want to say that. Lisa in chat can correct me if that is wrong, but I think that the first 60 days are free.
Yeah.
And you can use Portfolio to make some amazing websites. And today, that will be our theme. We will be looking at portfolios that are using Adobe Portfolio to showcase their work. So it'll be super fun today, and you'll see the diversity and the complexity of Adobe Portfolio to be able to show that off. So Nick.
Excellent. Yes.
Let's jump in and talk. Actually,
we have something to announce first, right? We have
something to announce first. I forgot about this. Yes.
2 things to announce.
What are we announcing, Nick? Go ahead.
We're announcing the winner of the Creative Cloud 1-year membership that we have kind of given out through the in-between episode ones. And that person is?
That person is Imogen Anderson. Imogen Anderson, you are our winner. Woo-hoo. Congratulations. You tweeted to us, showed us your workspace, gave us a little peek into your process, and you sent us your portfolio on Twitter using that hashtag Adobe Office Hours. So thank you so much for tweeting in. You're a winner, Imogen Anderson. Say hi in chat if you're here. If not, we'll be in contact and we will find you.
And we asked for you to stand out, and the first thing we noticed when what she posted was a nice little spot of her workspace, and we were like,
yep,
Perfect.
Yeah, so
That
we
worked.
love seeing your workspaces. We love seeing projects you're working on, and not just a link in a tweet. We love to see who you are as a creative and as a designer, and what you're doing to hang out. So we have another announcement, Nick. What is our next announcement?
This is getting tired. No,
I know,
this
right?
Is the best. We are giving away one more year subscription to Adobe Creative Cloud today.
Yes.
One of you lucky people. We need to see you in chat so we know who to award it to, but
Yes.
that will be coming up later today.
Exactly. That'll be coming up later today. We'll give you some more details as we get through about how we're going to do that. And we may have more announcements at the end of the stream. Who knows? We have an endless source of announcements and fun because this show's great. We love this show. We have a bunch of fun. And if you guys want to have something that you want us to cover, that you're like, it would be fun for them to cover that, drop it in chat right now. Our team is taking note of those. And as we schedule out future programs, we'll take those into account and talk about those. So let us know what you want to hear us talk about. My goodness.
Oh, our winner is in chat. Our winner is in chat. So yes, congratulations. Yes. So glad you were able to get it.
Congratulations.
She's going to put it to good use too. We totally know that.
Yeah, make some cool stuff and send it to us. Let us know.
Excellent.
Nick, all right, so today we're talking about standing out. Do you have any advice in general about how to stand out with your portfolios, with your work?
Oh, where do you begin, right? I think you gotta, everything we are giving you guys as far as the tips and tricks for your portfolio and everything, I like to think of that as the stuff that is out there speaking for you. Like, so if someone does come across your your website, there's a glimmer of who you are and something about you. There's some personal stamp there. But then there's also the stuff that you could be doing in addition to that. And that's in the job search. I'd love to know, tell us where you're looking for jobs. I think it'd be neat to see what kind of take, where you're finding it, where you're looking and what you're seeing. But one of the things I came across the other day on LinkedIn was a great thing about saying, if you're out there and you're that college grad or even just someone looking for a job, don't just apply for the job. Track down someone who works at the company that's there. And you might, who knows, if you're in the same city, there might be a mutual connection. Just even if there's not, go to that person, make a link, tell them how interested you are in that thing, make a personal connection to that company. That could be a really cool way to fast track yourself in and at least be something more than just like, a digital resume, right?
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. And I think, so I agree with that, is find a way hi Keith, find a way to stand out and not just in yelling into a crowded room. Find a way to pull your client into that corner and say, hey, let me tell you about you. I had an amazing student once that her whole thing was, it was very like sweet, fun, very like, I don't know, just like fun and light and like delicious kind of work. And her business cards, she laser etched her business cards onto marshmallows and then handed out cups of hot chocolate with her business card floating on top at her senior show.
That's called standing out.
Yeah, and I was like, that's one of those things that like I'll remember that forever, because it was something that was unique, and I immediately understood who she was and what she stood for. So if you are working on your portfolio and standing out, you want to answer these two questions first. And if you're taking notes, take notes on these. Write it, tweet it, tag it. You want to figure out, what do you want to say and how do you want to say it? Those are two questions to start. Is how do I want to communicate myself? And then what do I want to communicate? And then what is the way that I want to communicate that? And I'm going to show some examples from Nick and I, not to just be like, here's our stuff, but I think that we have done this well in a couple different ways. So I'm going to start one more time. I'm going to hop into Click browser. There we go. So this is a campaign that I launched for 2020. It was an utter disaster because all the conferences got canceled, but it was fun. And it was Hawk 2020. So I started hosting some conferences and realized this is a way that I could put myself out there. I went full-time freelance and I thought, how can I put myself out there to get brand recognition in a big splash that's unique? And so I ran a fake political campaign to host every design conference in the United States. I did a photo shoot. We built a brand. I targeted the people at Adobe Max. And when you're talking about standing out and trying to pull your client into a corner, I created this list of all of these are buttons that go to specific places so that when you click on one of these buttons for the conference to host, it's going to take you to Twitter. It's going to populate a tweet that I've already written that will tweet directly to the right person to get into contact, right? And then able to show a little bit more of my work at the bottom there. So this is an example of something that I wanted to stand out, and instead of yelling into the noise, I wanted to be able to have a way to grow the community and then have them be ambassadors to very specific to people to get notice and to get more recognition. This was great for getting recognition. Unfortunately, all the conferences got canceled in 2020, but this did lead to Canceled Con happening. And so it ended up being a great campaign to raise that awareness, which I think was really cool. So hopping over to Nick's portfolio. Nick, do you want to talk a little bit about your portfolio and what you've kind of done to stand out? I know you can't see my screen, but I kind of just scrolling
from the very beginning. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure there's commentary, there's lines of copy there that would be what I would say to somebody to make that first impression. Things about what we value, things about the fact that we can design a brand from scratch. And that's kind of a little nod to the whole idea of being in food and beverage mostly, is that using keywords that really emphasize all the stuff I'm trying to project, and I'm not there. So I want to make sure that they're getting the point across. And then showing plenty of examples before you've even dug into the work and you going into the branding section. There's tons of good stuff there to just fill up that anticipation of, I'm thinking, why did they come here? Why did they come to this site? Were they looking to find great examples right at the very beginning? I don't want to make it too confusing for them. In fact, I've been streamlining it even more and more as we speak over the last few weeks. So to me, I just want to make sure that they understand I am the person they were hoping to find, and let's make a connection, right? Showing them every variety from the most corporate to the most fun and everything in between.
Yep. And what is some of the work that you do the most of? What's your sector?
Food, beverage, and restaurant.
Yep. So
has to be it.
So Mensa made a comment. He's making me hungry. Yes. So that leads into the next point that I want to say. When you are curating, especially your work, I always ask people on any project, on presenting a portfolio, of doing a student portfolio review. I'm like, cool. So like, what's the thing? Like and I love asking people this question right off the bat. Is be like, so what's your deal? Because people are like, it's whatever. That I love the question of like, so like, Nick, what's your zone? It's like food and beverage, exactly. And when you look at this work, it makes you hungry. You're thinking about food and beverage and you know exactly what to expect. Design informs what is to come. And so being able to have that design that tells me who you are and what to expect as a creative is so important. And you could have that. You don't need the years and years of experience. I think what you could do is you could tailor it to appropriate like opportunities that are happening right now. Yes.
So you can change that idea. You can mess around with it. You could try things out. And if it ain't working, flip it the next day and see what's going on.
Exactly.
You'll know if it's working for you, if those people are applying back or doing whatever. But I think it's just, that's about just getting noticed. That's just those little things that are just cues to who you are. Like you say, who you are, what you want to do, and what value. I always say that. What value are you going to bring to an employer or to a client? And if you just think of that and add up all those benefits that they're going to get working with you, I think that's just the best building blocks for, putting together anything online. Like this.
And that's funny. Somebody said they are making sure that we call logos longos from now on.
Thanks, Steven. I see that.
Also, do you want to plug your podcast? Somebody asked about a podcast. You were doing it right before this, actually.
Yeah, we have the Deeply Graphic Design Cast, which is basically geared more towards freelancers and people that run their own design business. And then we do one called the Creative Course, which is literally like my class sessions from school, and we put them into courses online that you can listen to, binge, hear a whole topic, and have fun with. So
super
fun stuff there as well.
Super fun. Yeah. And then I wanted to show one more thing that we talked about, right? Positioning yourself to what is the thing. I want to show my editorial site real quick, because I think the second you hit it, just like your site, you understand like, oh, I think that you understand like the vibe and the aesthetic. You want people to understand who you are and what kind of work that you do. And it is just like a vibe check. Like your site should be a vibe check. And so my editorial site, I think, is that my hawk.co site, and I'll admit this live on stream, my hawk.co site is a nightmare. It is not well positioned. I'm not informing people what to expect. I'm not positioning myself well. It's kind of just here. And so I show off my editorial site to say, this is how I position myself in my editorial work, to be like, I'm crazy, it's insane, it's in your face, it's bold, it's all over the place. That if someone looks at it, I can easily define what is the thing. So someone had a question here that I just missed. Let me scroll up. What if you have lots of work, but you haven't made some pictures of the making of? Should you describe the project with a story behind? Nick, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, you can even, like, if it means redoing photography of you working on it, maybe staging it a little bit. If that's what they're asking, I think, why not? Like, I think it's all about what that screen is showing at the moment, and is it connecting to the person. So if you need to do that and show a little bit more of the storytelling behind it, why not? Sometimes even just the best work alone doesn't sing unless you see some of that. So I would say, why not?
Nice.
Preach.
Yeah.
Preach.
Yep. Can't have a solo without the choir.
Yeah. I did see someone asked about what my logo means. I can tell you really quickly. It's there to be it shows that it's on target. It's a little bit of movement. There's a little bit of like a fast pace. That's kind of me, just being a impatient kind of person. But it's also that I could do the quality work at a quick time. But I also want to make it look at a certain level of premium. That it has evolved over the years, and now where it's at, I'm very happy with it as just a symbol that represents certain attributes that you want it to be.
Yep, absolutely. And mine's an exclamation mark, because hi.
Boom. Say no more.
Say no more. All right, cool. So it is time for us to start moving into our portfolio reviews. Again, our disclaimer every single time, I don't know if it's a disclaimer, our knowledge every time is we will be talking about specific portfolios, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't apply to you, right? We want this to apply to everyone. We'll be giving broad concepts about maybe how we can suggest these people can stand out, but we want you to take that, process it, think about it, pray on it, and really think about how you can apply it to yourself, right? This is something for everyone, and even though we're not talking about you, we may be talking for you. Ooh, say no more, mon amour. Ooh, French. Love that.
And we all need to hear, I think we all need to hear this, because again, no one's portfolio is ever finished or final or done or the best. It's like, it's a work in progress.
Yep.
And I've been taking our own advice and going back to the new site that I'm building.
This is a great question from Sakina, because my work is definitely very specific to a style. Yours is in a certain zone. What if you do not incline to a particular vibe or style? How do you show off as a multidisciplinary designer?
Sell your strengths, sell your I'm sure your strengths could be typography, color theory, just great client services, your approach, your tact, all that stuff. It doesn't have to just be design, guys. It doesn't. In fact, 9 times out of 10, a client or an employer wants to hear about you, not the work and not the vibe and not the style you're in, right?
Yep.
Like, sell yourself on who you are. What do you bring to the table? That's a great spot. You can always ask a friend, a colleague, someone you worked with, what did I bring to the table? Get that in there, and you never know.
Absolutely, yes. And I love the questions coming through with chat. We're just going to stay with questions as they keep coming. We'll look at portfolios, but it's important to us to engage live with chat. So someone asked a question: what do you do if you do a lot of things? Is multimedia designer too broad? Should you be graphic designer? So if you see on my site, hawk.co, creative services.
There you go.
I'm literally creative services. On my Twitter bio, I say that I'm a creative for hire, which means that if you want something creative, I'll do it, period.
Yeah.
I'll do a little bit of everything, because I do video animation, design, branding, strategy, whatever you want. Sure, creative for hire. Pay me and I'll do it.
I like that. You've summed it up nicely. I think we've been using communication design a lot. Communication designer is getting good feedback from students that are using it. I think it just says, like you said, it's a way of saying generalist in a way, but also you can pinpoint certain things that are maybe you're stronger at, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And oh no, I had a thought. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, sometimes your sell is that you can do everything. Sometimes the sell is look at the diversity of my portfolio and how well I do all of the things.
Yes.
Yeah. For newbies to the business, how controversial can we be? you can only withdraw as much as you've invested. So you have to invest. And then when you're ready to make that withdrawal, you hit it. I'm about to be real controversial on some stuff that I'm launching. That will be, I don't know, it's going to be a splash. I like to cause a little bit of controversy. I'll give you a little tease into what it is, so that you'll be like, wait, what? And this is going to start some controversy. I'm launching soon, probably in the next, 6 months or so, Hawk.XXX. So it will it's going to get pretty crazy. But yeah, so if you've built that equity and that is your brand to be controversial, to be big and bold, go for it. That's part of my brand values, is to be bold, be in people's faces, and be a little bit crazy. So it fits my brand. It may not fit everyone's brand to do something.
Yeah, I don't think you just jump the waters immediately and go into that other thing. I always tell anybody, it's like, just know that it could come across, you might have to sit in front of someone and explain it to someone, and as long as you're comfortable with it, feel free to do it. Like, I think that's amazing. Yep. I don't take too many risks with that, because I don't feel like I have much to say in that particular arena. My art is my business, and I'm leaving it there. Like, it's just, you know what I mean?
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
So wherever you fall in that spectrum, just do it.
Yep.
I think it's a great question.
And that's why I love the dynamic between Nick and I hosting this, is we're in completely different zones, completely different designers, and there's no wrong answer. It's whatever fits your brand, however you position yourself, go for it.
Yeah.
No wrong
just be ready to back it up. I think that's the best way to say it.
Yep. If you don't have a reason for why, then throw it out, which goes into next week. We'll be talking about finding your why. So come back and watch that. And then another plug for if you're talking about being a generalist versus a specialist, we have an episode about that. Go back, watch that. I believe that you can look down below at some of the videos that have been before and see if you can find that generalist versus specialist. I think it was a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
All right.
Excellent.
That was a lot of talking and a lot of really great questions, chat. I love that engagement.
I could do Q&A all day long with this kind of group. This is awesome.
I agree. Yeah. We're going to give you a solid A+, solid 95% on that one from your professor friends here at Office Hours.
And there's a question that is also regarding our topic for in 2 weeks, I believe, which is all about costing and quoting a project as a beginner graphic designer. So
yes, we are not going to skate around numbers and be like, there's the ballparks or whatever. I'm going to tell you exactly the project, how much I charged for it, and what the process was to negotiate. So come back for that. We will tell you our hourly rates. We're gonna
and what yours should be, and what you, based on where you are, what's your experience, where are you at. Maybe even like, those little, I love those little nuggets of like, if you're down and you really need work, just double your rates, give it a try.
Yep.
It's like, sometimes it works.
Sometimes shoot for the moon. So, yep. Exactly. Okay, cool. So there's still a lot of questions coming in. We need to hop into portfolios. So we'll kind of bounce, keep your questions coming. We'll bounce back and forth. This is a portfolio show, but it's also here to help you. So we're going to balance both of those. And we're going to start out by looking at a portfolio by Julia X Art. And again, we're highlighting all portfolios today that are built in Adobe Portfolio. Kind of cool. So Julia, thank you for submitting using that hashtag Adobe Office Hours. We're going to take a look at some of your work. I want to hop in. Actually, Nick, do you want to talk overall about the site as we're landing?
Yeah, I mean, like, you get an instant clue on what she does, what her vibe is. I think this is some of the coolest little illustrations I've seen in a while. So if we're going off of today's topic and this, is it standing out? Your art stands out for yourself. Yep. I would maybe say just your presentation, your personal touch. If I was as good as an illustrator as you, I'd have the most rock solid logo of my brand, because you can do it. Like, have that up there, have something up there that tells me who you are, rather than just very simple text. Because wow, your art looks great. I would also say maybe bigger tiles, that maybe one big one that takes up 4 of those grids, and then some smaller ones. Like, give me some variety. But I think I'm seeing such an overload, and it's almost blurring to me. And I don't want that to happen to you, because you got beautiful, beautiful designs.
I agree. This feels like it's a bunch of like really well-dressed people trying to get like the paparazzi to take their photo, but there's like 90 of them in a group and they're all just like posing like over each other. I really want to see some bigger images, some smaller images, really showcase and let it breathe. And then also shout out to this image here of your space image. This is from my daily creative challenge. So thanks so much for learning and being a part. You did a great job on this one of creating some type on a path, showing your path home using custom brushes. So great job on this one.
Excellent.
I'm going to explore your site a little bit. I'm going to go over to the projects tab and see what's going on over here. Oh, well, what we just said, I think, is existing over here. I still feel like there is a lot. And oh my gosh, there's a whole case study for the Mission Space Challenge. This makes my heart so happy to see you being a part of this. So let's hop in here maybe and talk. Actually, let's look at a different project. So this was just a week of challenges. These are really, really great. Again, shameless plug. Go do the daily creative challenges if you haven't. They're really fun. Let's hop into an actual project. Let's look at flower delivery site illustrations.
Perfect. There we go. Very nice. Very clean. Again, maybe like a little bit of context as to what you were given, maybe some sketch. I'd love to see sketches of your exploration. Like, here's what my people and my trees are going to look like. Like, show me a few sketches of the development of this. Then you show it off here, and man, like, I think that would look fantastic. Maybe even pull them out of the web and show them nice and big. A little bit of variation of scale on this one would be nice.
I agree. And what I almost want to see is, like, I want to see wireframes here with your illustrations sketched into them. So we've talked about this a couple times on stream. People always ask, like, if I don't have process shots, what should I do? And I'm not telling you to fake them. I'm telling you to get them out of your brain and recreate them. So you're not like lying with like, oh, I'm faking these sketches. They were in your brain, and I do this. I never sketch. It happens in my brain, and then I go straight into Illustrator. And so if I need to show process, I can say, hey, this was happening in my brain. I'm just trying to communicate it so I can show you. If there's a loud noise right now, it's the garage opening just below me. So if you guys can hear that, that's what's happening. But yes, go ahead and do those sketches. I would love to see a wireframe of this with your sketches in the site, just to show off your thought process as you went through.
You know, as these are characters representing a brand. They're almost mascots in a way when you think about it. I'd love to see what you determined the person would be. Like, let's say we're talking super friendly, you know, they have to have certain things within the male and the female and the flowers that relate or do something to the brand. I'd love to see the breakdown of that, because if I'm a client coming in here and I'm trying to think about hiring you, I want to see your process on how you made art for my brand. So what was the criteria? You know, if you look at the features of both the male and the female, you can see the similarities and you can see the differences. So like, why was that chosen? What were those reasons? Like, wow, you could sell this on me like crazy if I got a little bit more information on that.
Yep, I agree. And down here, having my illustrations for flower delivery website, I see a lot of these on portfolios, and this is equivalent. I'll give you kind of a real world example. So whenever I'm talking to like a casting person, right? I've done a couple game shows here and there. Whenever I'm talking to a casting person, they're like, hey, do you have a headshot? And I send in a headshot and I'm like, this is me. They're like, yeah, we know. That's what this does for me, is seeing descriptions of what I've just looked at, of saying my illustrations for a flower website, or on social media if you're posting and you're like, a recent project from class. I don't need to know that. I need you to sell me and take me on a journey for that. And so I don't need this line. Like, you could just kill it. There's enough information here that helps me understand, and maybe putting a little paragraph at the beginning that walks me through, that takes my hand and really starts to communicate that through what the project is. So tell me something new each time.
What do you think if it was, bringing a brand to life via custom illustrations?
Exactly, yes.
Something that tells me a little bit, like, that could just replace and start the whole conversation off so much clearer, right?
Yep, exactly. And it's that, I mean, it's defining what you want to say and how you want to say it. Like you just said, that here's the goal, here's how we achieved it. That's all. Like, just give me those two things and I'll be like, cool, you did it.
Perfect.
And I agree. A lot of people are talking about having more color on our site. I want to see on this projects page, or really in general, this top bar that's just gray. I want to see
Yeah.
that so bold and colorful with like a fun pattern or something. I really want that to stay as your signature up there as we go through these projects, and just make it really, really fun and colorful for who you are. Let's go into the hemp oil themed illustrations real quick.
Sure.
See, these are gorgeous, and there's only one in here. It looks like there are more because it's numbered 1. So I would add in the rest. And then I also would just show them in context. Put this in a magazine. I could see this on the side of maybe some kind of CBD store or something like that. As a mural, like show it as a mural on a wall. We want to see the context for what it is. And when you're talking about
a great
standing
packaging
out,
line too.
Yes, exactly. We're talking about standing out. Doing something unconventional like that is something that makes you stand out. That it's, you know, on the side of a building as a mural instead of a poster with like a blurry person walking by. It just helps you stand out to do something that is unique in your presentation and context.
Yeah, I love someone even mentioned the great texturing, and I think that could be a thing to help you stand out a little bit. If you show that becomes like a signature in your look and the things that you do. To me, I always say like that's a great way to just add to a flat vector. Some people could do flat vectors like, you know, crazy good. You don't need anything on them. But having this is like a bit of her signature. And I figure like be neat to show that off, maybe even showing how you do it with a quick video. A potential employer or a freelance client might kind of dig that. So
exactly,
you never know.
Yep. And if you like this kind of stippling texture, check out Adam Grayson. He's an incredible designer. We talked about him in past streams, but he's an amazing designer. Kills this. He actually has a lot of good brushes in this style. We're gonna hop over to our next portfolio, but in the meantime, I'm gonna pull up his site so I can show you those brushes. So let's hop over to Tamra, doing some UI UX fun. And Nick, you can go ahead and take it away.
I love doing these ones for UI UX. I really do. It's kind of fun for us, particularly not really being in that world. But maybe that might be the right kind of person to look at these, because I kind of feel like it's a little stuck in the same vibe of first impression, that it comes off just as like the UI UX approach. And I wonder if there's things to do that could really be a difference to her. I do like that she has this fantastic line at the beginning saying it's got best practices and accessibility in mind. She's given a bit of POV there. This is what she's feeling that her work does. And I think that's very nicely done in a way. I might mess around a little bit with the typography of your name. The all caps just feels like it's a little hard to read, and maybe that gives you a chance to have it looks like you have some fantastic typography skills. So maybe just a nice switch in there.
Yes.
But I want to go to just to enhance a little bit of what I was saying, the Salt Lake Design Week 2019 case study.
Let's do it.
Let's go into that one. So when we first saw this,
got it,
and some of these movements and these cool things that happen right at the beginning, I'm almost wondering how cool that would look more as your first impression. So if we're talking about how you're going to stand out, if these things are things that you have in your wheelhouse, I want to see those in addition to the fact that you're a UI UX person. And what a great way to just sing your praises by showing this off right at the very beginning.
I agree.
I love that. I think this is not seen a lot. So a lot of times I feel like if you have something that's, that little something up your sleeve, bring this in. These look really, really cool and really, really nice.
I agree.
It looks like that is it on this project, but let's go back to, you want to pick the next one?
Yeah, let's do it. And one of the mods in chat, sorry, I was trying to find it. That's why if you ever see me looking up like this, I'm looking at my monitor doing something if my face looks weird. So mods, I couldn't find link. If you could find Adam Grayson on Instagram, just link that for our people's reference. That would be great. Thanks, friends. Thanks, mods. So I agree that when I land here, I'm thinking, what is your thing? I have the kind of fat face type face here with those thin verticals, thick horizontals, kind of that it feels like upscale, maybe refined. It's kind of fun, fancy, right? We're going to like a tea party kind of thing. And then I get down and it's very minimalist, very like modern. I'm going to a museum now. Then I'm trying to figure out what is the thing. And to me, seeing that design week, that little motion here, I would love to see a little bit of motion on all of these. To me, that could be your thing. even in these UI challenges, which I think that you were doing with Howard Pinsky right before this. Looks like you're doing them every day, which is great. I'd love to see a little bit of motion in these. Make some gifts, show some interactions, and for me, show me how I can interact with your brand. For standing out, that is a huge thing, is sometimes you don't have to necessarily stand out and be like, oh, crazy. You just have to kind of segment yourself and say, hey, here's how you would interact with this. Here's how this would work with your life, and really invest yourself into the way that I would interact with it. And then I'll think that I'm interacting with it. It is, yes, Studio Grayson. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, friends,
for
that Instagram link.
Yeah.
That's Adam Grayson. Go give him a follow. Give him a like, and let him know you came from office hours, because he's great. And I know that he loves this community. So I'm into the Viz Digital tool for community mapping. I don't know what happened with all my words there. They kind of just fell out.
There we go. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
But with this, I, again, want to see some motion. Like, it was so fun when I saw that piece that you did. I just want to see a little bit.
Yes. I guess what I'd love to see this world where the UI UX gets maybe presented with a bit more case study branded vibe. These are brands. You have put something together here, and I think it just needs the introduction and the storytelling to really sell it a little bit more, because I know how much goes into these. She's got such great user experience. She's got the journey. She's got the privacy considerations. There's a lot of good content in here. Great color palette with the brand. It really looks nice. I guess it's just my intro to it would not catch me and keep me to read all that extra stuff.
Yep. And so down at the bottom here, you have some awesome images that are showing us, I clicked on the wrong things. There we go. That are showing us some like brand elements. Put those in between, move them up, and take us on that journey. Let us understand the brand, put some type on those, some fun little zingy things, some good copy, and incorporate that into your case study. That would be very helpful for me to understand this. And again, to stand out, sometimes it's not about standing out in the crowd. It's about taking your client away from the crowd and taking their hand, walking them away into the space that you want them to be. Let's go ahead and take a look at one more. Nick, do you want to pick the last one?
Let's go with, I'm going to go with Max Light. Max Mag. Is that what it was? I clicked on it too soon.
Where is it?
Sorry. First one.
Oh, the Max Mag. Those are the UI challenges. We looked at those.
Oh, we saw that.
So those are just daily challenges that they're putting up as they start to work with those.
The IKEA one, the breadcrumb. Okay, let's take a look. Yeah.
Ikea. If you're in other countries call it Ikea. I was in Belgium and they were like Ikea.
I like it.
I know, right?
I guess again at the beginning, I want to see that billboard that tells me everything in a quick, with a beautiful, vivid color, showing it in use. Maybe people at the store with it in hand, and it says, the redesign of the most popular, shopping app. Boom, headline. Got it.
Yep.
Now you go into everything. Show the current, show its problems, show what things you really want to see it happen. Because look, now you got great content. You got why people go to IKEA. You got its new look and its new color palette. Everything looks great. So I think it's just that first impression, right? We definitely want to get that pushed so much more.
Exactly. Yeah. And having some zippy copy, again, having that big billboard image that has, like finding your new home or something like that, or, making your new home, that it's about all these things you find at IKEA to make a home. I love that you have identified the problems with the current app a lot and kind of started to do that. I definitely want to see you have great user research here. I'd love to see more of that, actually. And it seems like there's a big open space here that I want to see something in, but I don't know what.
Yeah.
It's kind of just there. So I'd love to see, it feels fairly unbalanced as you go through there.
Yeah. I would also say too, like, I'm curious to see, I'm not seeing in all of the different images that are on screens, I'm not getting an IKEA brand vibe in there.
I agree.
Really. Like, knowing that brand so well, knowing what colors they use, like the logo is very, very like missing in a lot of this. And I don't know if that was part of the plan or in the approach, but I think there's something about seeing it. It's definitely showing in the current app, You've got the beautiful blue, you've got that yellow. It definitely feels IKEA to me. It's like their type choices are very IKEA. I'm almost not feeling that 100% with the new look.
I agree. Yep.
And got to be careful.
Yeah. One more time. Somebody asked, what are your thoughts on having a portfolio in Behance? This technically is a portfolio on Behance. I'm going to take a shot here and click on her Behance. And yep. So these are the same projects that are happening on her Behance. If we come over here, go to her work, you can basically take your Behance and click on, there will be a button. Oh, here, I'll show you mine. There'll be a button that just says edit your portfolio or edit with or Adobe Portfolio, and you can convert your Behance portfolio into your Adobe Portfolio, and it gives you a site that here are all my projects. I can click edit Adobe Portfolio. It will build one for me if you have Creative Cloud. It is also free for 60 days right now. So I'm going to pick my theme. So let's say I want a different theme. I've changed this theme like every week showing this off. We're gonna go here and use this theme. I think it's fun. And now all of my projects have been converted over. They have all of the themes. And if we click into any of these, let's look at the weird Easter dot work that I was doing. You can see all of my case study that I had built in Behance is now showing on this site in my Adobe Portfolio. So super easy to convert those two. So yes, have your portfolio on Behance, convert it to a site, and then you have the best of both worlds.
Yep.
All right.
Perfect.
Let's hop into our last one. We got about 10 minutes here. I need to make sure that we have time at the end. Please, everyone in chat, at 1:50, just start spamming chat for me to move on, because I will not. And
we're gonna be looking for a new winner.
Yes, that's true. We are gonna. How do we want to do our giveaway for this stream?
Well, if we're talking about standing out, you got to put something in chat that's going to stand out.
Oh yeah, not yet, but we'll get there. Yeah, we'll see.
I'm just waiting for that scroll
down.
To get
my
going.
Goodness,
we will call it.
Let's look at Arifa Tayabji real quick.
Yes.
I feel like I did pretty good with that one. Let's look at one or two of these projects, because I think that we had feedback on this, a lot of similar feedback on a lot of these projects. So let's hop into the food photography, because it is a gorge.
Yeah, very well done.
Gorga, as they say. So let's just scroll through this and let me know any thoughts.
I'm a big fan of this. I want to try this just for fun because I love design. I love cooking. This would be an amazing, fun experiment to try. A lot of great stuff here. I mean, this is an endless amount, and I have been guilty of doing this because I feel like I've took 800 great shots, and I'm going to show you 800 great shots. I think we could limit it a little bit. Definitely try to limit this down to 2 to 3 per category or per composition here. And I think it comes across. We get exactly what this is, but again, I'd love to see maybe a bit more, maybe a video of you doing this, and that might be here. I don't see it, but I do like the picture of you. Is there a time lapse?
Yes. No. Oh. Sorry, I want to see time lapse.
Oh, that would be fantastic. I love seeing that. That would be great. I think, be just like, there's so much work here. This is amazing. I'd love to just see you, show me that this was what was it for? Because I'm assuming this would be just experimental. And you mentioned experiments at the beginning, but maybe what I would do is this talent you have, maybe take it into some brands, do some brand work of it, show what you can do for Starbucks, what you can do for Hershey's, anybody that this would relate to.
I agree. Yep. For me, we're still scrolling. We're about 3/4 of the way through. There's way too much in this project. When we're talking about what is your thing, I don't know, because there's so much stuff. Even though it is all food typography, I don't know because there's so much stuff here. So I would break this into separate projects. Just show me case studies for those. I'd love some behind the scenes, mood boards. Yes, Michael, mood boards. Showing some more of that process, I think would be great. Let's go ahead and hop over to Twice, share a cuppa, which I believe is what they call a cup of coffee over in, I know they do in Australia, but I don't know where else. So let's look at this. It's a branding project. So let's kind of scroll through.
Cool.
And right off the bat, my thoughts, there's a wall of copy here. I want to see what is your thing. What is the thing right away? I love that you're showing the daily creative challenge. I don't think that was with Julia. Cool. And so I love that you're showing like, hey, I did this for a daily creative challenge, but I want to see like right away. Here's the hit the billboard.
Yep. You need that intro that really tells us everything in there. I think too, we're getting a wall of copy, and there's, like we talked last week, the hierarchy of typography could be a little bit more refined. So we're understanding it. I do like where you're going into certain things and showing the exploration of it. The pad, it's a little overwhelming to see your logo over all these different patterns. Again, I think a brand is going to limit it to maybe one or two and have usage reasons. So one's maybe interior, one's exterior, one's summer, one's winter. So I would mess around with those a little bit. They do compete a lot with what's going on, even though your logo's in the white box. And I think the illustration was a great attempt of, again, like your food photography, there's a lot of extra in there. I think if you pulled out a lot of that detail, there might be something really fun to play around with there. But if this was a fun little challenge and you did it, I have to salute you for doing extra work. Doing these challenges is really, really great. It just needs that refinement to get a better first impression for me.
Yep, exactly. And for me, for these patterns, put them on coffee cups. I don't need them just as patterns. Put them on an Adobe Dimension mockup.
Perfect.
I know they're good mockups because I've used them for a client. Toss them on a coffee cup. Show us in context. I love these kind of illustrations that you're using a lot. The way that you've converted them is very fun. And I think you're breaking down too many elements without showing them together. So you've broken down here all the elements that I'm using in the brand. How did you use them in the brand? Show me the brand, show me the overarching brand, and really kind of pull it together. Because right now it's a bunch of different elements that I'd love to see pulled together more. Yeah, I do like, when you show the inspiration there and her reference from the blend iced tea thing. I think that's you did kind of come close to that. You definitely showed if that was our expectation, you did get it, which is really, really cool. I do love your ideas about taking those patterns, putting them in environments, putting them on shopping bags, putting them on the cups, like you said, interior murals of a store. Show us what the store is going to look like. I think that's another thing. What other application can you do with this? And again, edit it back a little bit. Yep,
I agree. You got some fun stuff to mess around with. Yeah,
so speaking of Arifa, that's where we're going to wrap up our portfolio reviews. But Arifa, overarching, definitely make sure that you are editing. You're asking why on everything you post. And that's what we're talking about more next week. So come back and tune in for that, of why am I putting this in my portfolio? Why is this image so big? Why is it this image as opposed to another one? Why are there so many? If there's not a good reason for that, a lot of times you have to learn to edit it out. If you've taken any classes with me, you know that if I ask you why on a project and you don't have a good answer, you start over. Because as you make those decisions, you need to be in your mind answering the idea of why am I making this decision. So I think coming up, we have a couple more things that we want to talk about. Next week, we check that off. Come back next week, same time, 1 p.m. We will be here. I think... Let's see. I don't have a schedule for what's coming up next, so I know that something is coming up next.
Someone's gonna be here.
Come hang out. It should actually. Hold on. It's right below me. Peter Del Tondo's up next, guys. I'm gonna do a giveaway for Peter Del Tondo. We're gonna do all kinds of giveaways, so stick around for the next stream. We're not signing off quite yet, but at 2 o'clock when Peter Del Tondo goes live, I will have a secret emoji for you to put in chat. And we will be giving him a little raid from our Adobe office hours. He's doing the XD challenges, and I will pick one of those people who's using the secret emoji, and I will give them one of my free fonts that you can find at hawk.shop. I will send you one of those, so stick around for that stream. I'll give you the secret emoji. Nick, do we want to do our giveaway and then make our announcement?
Ooh, let's do it. All right. So I'm going to leave it up to our group here to chat the most, something we cannot... Stand out.
Yes. So we're giving away a free year of Creative Cloud right now. Very fun.
Show us your creative skills.
What's your creative skills? Stand out. Find a way to stand out in the chat. We will give
5 lines or less, though.
Yes.
You can't do more than 5 lines.
A couple minutes here. And while we're doing that, as we're looking, I may turn off the mic for just a second so that Nick and I can speak candidly, without you guys hearing. So
here they come.
I'll be back in just a second. You'll see my little faces. We'll be going. So give us just a minute.
Pick me.
In the meantime, you can go to bit.ly right above and join our Slack because you have a second.
Okay.
All right. Try to read our lips. Everyone's like, it's silence. Yes, you are trying to stand out in chat right now. Make us notice you, and we will maybe give you a free year of Creative Cloud. And then we have an announcement coming up. We'll have 1 more minute, 60 more seconds of this. Stand out in chat.
Yes.
Let us know who you are.
Yes. Come on.
All right, we are back,
back?
from our deliberation.
Whew.
Our winner is Christine Cho. Christine Cho, you got my attention right away. You just dictated that you were the winner, and I love that confidence. And sometimes that's what you have to do with clients. You go in and you say, hey, this is how much this project's going to cost. This is what it's going to be. And that's just the way it is. And I love that you just went in and you're like, guys, they already announced that I'm the winner. That kind of confidence is fantastic. Take that into every project that you're working. And there's a big difference between being cocky and having confidence. So that was really great confidence. Great job, Christine. And somebody agreed. They're like, give it to Christine.
That's great.
So yes, and we will be doing, if you didn't win this one, we will be doing on social media, again, hashtag Adobe Office Hours. We'll be giving away another Creative Cloud subscription next Friday. So this week, hashtag Adobe Office Hours, and we want you to do the same thing. We want you to stand out. Tag Adobe Awards, tag Nick or I on social media, and show us how you can stand out. Show us some of your work, show us your presentation skills. Just make sure that you are using that hashtag Adobe Office Hours. And next week on Friday, same place, same time, we'll be giving away another one. So make sure that you are posting. I know we're just throwing them out left and right. Adobe loves the community. They invest in the community, and they've given us a bunch to throw out. So reach out to Nick or I. Nick, where can people find you on social media?
Longo Designs Inc. and Longo Designs on Instagram.
Yes, and you can find me on all social medias at hoch.co, HOCHDOTCO, all words. You can tag us. You can also tag Adobe Awards. They're the people that will be tweeting about office hours. And be sure that you hashtag Adobe Office Hours. If you do not, it will be a problem. We won't be able to find you. So hashtag Adobe Office Hours. Show us how you stand out. Post on social media. And who knows? Maybe a client will see your project. Maybe they'll see your presentation and you'll get a job out of it.
That'd be our first big success story.
I know, right? Yeah. If anyone has applied things that they have learned in office hours and gotten work out of it, let us know. That's what I want to see. Post on Instagram, tweet on us, whatever. Let us know if you've learned something and then gotten a success story, because I want to highlight that next week because it would be super cool.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, we have 1 minute left. Nick, do you want to talk a little bit about summations for standing out and what we're doing next week?
Gosh, yes. I think it's just a matter of anything that's going to catch our eye, something creative, maybe copy. I mean, Christine won with innovative copy. It's not even design, you know what I mean? And then next week, we really want to talk about the why. Like when you look at a project in your portfolio, it should be crystal clear. And that's the thing we're hoping to do next week. For sure.
Yep. And next week, if you submit your portfolios, we will very much be looking at those. And Nick and I may be reaching out to you with those portfolios, asking you why you did some things. And that way we can have answers. It won't just be a one-way conversation. We will have some back and forth next week on our portfolios so that we can have some answers and some questions to why you made the decision. So make sure you submit your portfolios portfolios, get creative with it, stand out, and use hashtag Adobe Office Hours on any social media, and we'll find you. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. We will see you same place, same time next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow, what a day. Thank you all for joining us. I really encourage you all to continue having these conversations of how creativity can play a role in both your personal and work life. But before I go, I just want to give you 2 quick reminders. We have the 2 Google Meet sessions with industry leaders where you can ask all of your questions and maybe even get a portfolio review. And if your creative juices are flowing, make sure to join us in our Co-Create Hour with When We All Vote. And don't forget to follow Adobe students on social media. It's a great community to join, and we post a lot of really useful resources for both current students and recent grads. All right, now, thanks everyone. Go make your voices heard. Bye.